Okay. All right. So, are we ready? We're going now. Okay. I am Jessica Newman. I am the Main Street Director for the City of Wauchula, for Main Street Wauchula. I am also the Community Redevelopment Agency Director for the City of Wauchula. And I've been in the world of Main Street for 16, almost 17 years now. My first Main Street gig, if you will, was I was the director for Kissimmee Main Street. But I have a Main Street background. My father was part of Main Street when it started in Wauchula, which is my hometown. So opportunity came for me to be able to move back to Wauchula, my hometown, and be the Community Redevelopment Agency Director. And in that job description, that director is to oversee the nonprofit Main Street Wauchula. And so it was great. I was still given the opportunity to do what I love, being in the world of Main Street, and even compound that with having more money because now I have the CRA and I'm the director of that. So worlds collided and it worked out really great. And I have been back in Wauchula for 12 years now, a little over 12 years. And it's, things are going great. We've seen a lot of changes in the 12 years. We were designated in 95, so we've definitely seen a lot of changes since 1995 in downtown Wauchula. Extreme blight, a lot of vacancy, and it's just not that way anymore. The park was not there. It was a big concrete slab where a building had burnt down. You're familiar with the park. It's gorgeous. So just a lot of changes. And even now, a lot of times, when we see people or hear people making comments that seem, they've gotten complacent with the way things are, Main Street will throw up some then and now to give that reminder of, look where we've come. Right. Yeah. I mean, you forget. It's been, especially that amount of time. You do forget, and you forget both when, on the good and bad. Right. I mean, it's, yes, people do forget kind of where you came from.
They
do.
And they also forget the hard work that got you to the point you're at. And it's,
yes.
And so as these projects evolve and people change,
right, yes, yeah.
I did an interview, I did Jeff Burton yesterday, yes. And we went for like an hour and a half, which we can just do.
Yes.
And,
hey, how are you?
And one of the things I was joking about is it's so nice that people are actually finally now discovering Miami Beach.
Right.
If you
yes.
read the press.
Right. Yeah.
But
it was hidden before.
Yeah. One thing Jeff did say, though, as we were talking about our process and the resources that we had in Miami Beach, and as president of FRA, as I described that to him, he talked about you. And that he said that you, more than anyone else he knows, is more effective with the resources that you have and more successful than anyone else that he's seen.
Oh, that was great.
And what you do in your community.
Well, we don't have a lot of money. We don't, and that's one of the reasons why our city combined the two positions of CRA director and Main Street director, because having to pay two salaries for two, and it just made more sense. And the job and the things overlap so much and complement so much that utilizing those resources, it made sense to pull them together. And then also it's made sense because I know what CRA is doing, so I can get some Main Street help and vice versa. But because we don't have a lot of money, I do have to get creative. I have to find other sources of supplementing, what we can do. We did, and this is on the CRA side, we had a mixed-use project. Well, we wanted to increase some multifamily residential. It was a need in Hardy County. And so the CRA had a lot. We wanted to build a mixed use. We realized we didn't have the money to build. There's no way that CRA could afford to build this building. So we said, okay, well, we'll give the lot and we'll give some incentive. But again, we didn't have a lot of money to give as an incentive either. We're asking someone to build a multi-million-dollar project. We're also asking them to keep their rent levels so that, a firefighter, a school teacher can afford it. It's never going to cash flow. And we could afford to give $150,000 in incentive. At the same time, our economic development office also knew there was a need for multifamily housing. So they had budgeted $200,000 for housing. They didn't have a plan for it. They just had the line item until they figured it out. So I went to them and said, we have a plan. Can we have your 200,000? So they gave us, so now we have 350,000. So, and then, with brownfields, we've been able to capitalize on several grants for a brownfield cleanup project that's in our downtown, and also figuring out how to sell the tax credits to get money back into the CRA. With Main Street, we go to anybody and everybody that hey, can you help us with this project? Can you help? What can you donate something? Can you? What grant can we apply for? What can we do? So, we've got a layer. We have a park project that's again not Main Street but CRA, and we have it's total over $3 million, and in the end, the CRA will have paid about half. We have 3 grants. We have a private corporation that's donating, but it's taken like 5+ years because we've had to wait on funding. But we have to. We don't. Jeff was telling me. I was talking to him last week. Maybe it was the week before, and he's telling me about. Oh, we just paid. Could be totally making this up. $1 million for a quarter of an acre to put a park. Must be nice. I don't have that in my whole budget for the year, and you have just paid that for a quarter. But he's in Tampa. I mean, they've got the money, and we don't. So we've got to make ends meet where we can.
And that was one of the things that's important in our process is making it relevant and understanding those limited resources, and that there are other things you can do. And I think that even the way that you're able to take over here a line item, because it takes more than that. You've got to have the financial feasibility. You've got to have the design. You've got to have all these elements work together, and Jeff, also gave the example of Deland. This is not a large city compared to a Miami Beach or a Tampa, but if you have the will to succeed, I always tell my clients that the most important thing you have to have is attitude and a will to succeed. And if you have that, then you can work within the resources that you have.
Oh yeah, and Deland's fantastic downtown. And even yesterday, we were at the opening yesterday, and they talked about the theater. Right. And they wanted to tear it down years and years ago, but someone had the desire and the will, and they pushed forward, and it's a fantastic facility. And that's the way we've been. We have our historic city hall is in our Main Street program area. And there's an auditorium in there. It seats about 350 people, and the city commission chambers are in there, and that's all the building's used for. Now, the auditorium was needed much repair and just kind of sat empty, and Main Street really wanted to get it reused, get it activated. It's a theater. It's downtown. So we applied for a Florida Humanities grant, and they had a speaker series, so we would have guest speakers in there. We've shown some movies in there. We've tried to do little things here and there to get people in there, and people will come in and they'll say, "Oh wow, I didn't know this was here." Our historic committee, they do a historic ghost tour once a year. The pickup point, we have people movers for it. What used to be in the park downtown, but then historic committee decided, why don't they check in at the auditorium, and they can wait in the lobby, kind of like at Disney with the Haunted Mansion, and when it's their tour time, they'll open and they'll have their seat in the auditorium, and their first historic figure that they'll meet will be on the stage there. And that gives awareness for, and the people that come in say, I've never been. And this past year, one guy said he only went on the tour because he wanted to go into the auditorium. I mean, it's a public building. I mean, you can call city and say, hey, I want to look in there. But he didn't know, and he had never been in and wanted to do it. So he signed up and paid, $10 for a tour ticket just so he could go in and see. But we've had commissioners over the years during this whole process that have been like, it doesn't get used. Why don't we just find another use for it? Why don't we just get rid of the auditorium area and make it, something else? And Main Street has really pushed and said, no, art and culture and amenities like that and parks, while they aren't generating a lot of revenue, and our parks aren't generating any, but it's quality of life. And people have to have that quality of life. And so, Main Street continued to push till finally the CRA funded a plan for it, which, is now like 10 years old because we haven't had money. But I have used that. We have used that plan to this past year. We secured $300,000 from a private corporation to help with renovation, and we now have a grant to start on some renovation this year. But Main Streets had to be persistent and had to, we couldn't back off, and because then who knows what that auditorium would be right now if we had backed off of it. But again, we also had to figure out where's the money going to come from to make it happen.
Yeah. And I've thought, and even before the pandemic, we were talking to clients and cities about how their most important economic development initiative was quality of life. And, and some of them get it, and some of them have to be got around because they're waiting for you to say it's the home run in this 1,000-job manufacturing facility or something. But it's at the end of the day, and even more so now when talent can go anywhere they want, you've got to create a place that people want to be. And it's not just about attracting talent. You've got to create a place people want to stay. And it comes down to how they, how people think and feel about something. And so after all is said and done, that's sort of the last branch on the decision tree is how do I feel about it? Everything else makes sense, but, that restaurant just doesn't look like it did on Yelp. So let's go somewhere else or, And it comes down to, and part of that is it's what connects people to place, and it's the aesthetics of the place, and it's the activities and the place opportunities for people to engage with each other.
Well, that was what I was talking about yesterday with the initiatives that we started with our open mic and fitness in the park and all of that. That started because we did some surveys, and from the harsh comments that people had to say about our downtown, it was clear that they really didn't know our downtown. Right. They really hadn't. They had a window view of a business and hadn't gone in to meet the owner and see how great they were, to see the product in there, and they hadn't built fond memories and had fun experiences downtown. So we looked at that and said we need to step back and we need to quit worrying about trying to recruit businesses, and we need to focus on getting people downtown in general and getting them to enjoy it and start building those memories.
You're spot on with that. In some cities, they're like, we got to bring a business, or we've got to get a brand new development downtown, or some even, we need a P3 on all of our land or something. No, you need to get people downtown by whatever means you can and build that market and build that identity and create that real place. And then the market will react to that, and it'll make it that much, don't like to use the word easy, but sometimes this doesn't have to be as hard as we make it.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you, we actually a few months ago just did another survey. We did not ask the pointed question that was in the first one of what 3 words come to mind when you think of downtown, but we did ask about what businesses you go to, and they could write in extra comments. And I will say, for the most part, everything was positive. Even like the comments, they may have said the service is slow at this restaurant or something, but we did not get the same vibe that we did in that first survey. And it's probably been 6 or 7 years now since that we've been really working on bringing things downtown that people can come to and enjoy, not trying to push them into a store or anything like that. We just want you to come and enjoy downtown and we want it to feel like home to you. We really focused on, back then, the buzzword was third place. And so, you have your work, you have your home, and we want downtown to be your third place. We want it to be where you want to come hang out. So we, had a series of things. Some of them worked out, some didn't, some we still do. And look, he roped me in. But they've worked out, and I think it's proven to be successful for us. We now have more businesses downtown than we've ever had, and we've had some renovations of some vacant buildings, and so it really has, and I don't want to say it's because we had open mic in the park, but I do think that it is partly because that brought more people, and they want to be downtown where they can have fun.
Sure, and it is, and I mean, I love your downtown. When I travel through the Heartland, I just don't know which town to pick to drive through on that trip. But every time I come through there, it's like I have to pull over because I know there's going to be something that I want to take a picture of to show my team. to see something. And one time it might be the park, one time it's a wayfinding, one time it's a building and a business or a renovation.
You know what we have right now? I don't know when you're going to go through again, but it'll be up through. It'll be up again through the end of August. We have student artwork banners, and so we did that 2 years ago. Okay. So one of our goals was to generate more foot traffic downtown. So we have students, third grade through seniors. They have to create a artwork. We give them, it has to be on, they submit it to us on 8.5 by 14. And we work with the schools to get them in the homeschool book, to get those artwork. They're submitted to us, we jury them, and then they're digitized and they're printed on banners and they're downtown. And it has the students' first initial, last name, and what their grade is. So now you've got parents and family members walking down Main Street to find their kid's banner. And then they're taking photos of it and they're posting their photos on social media with their kid under the banner. And it's, again, that's just something that activates downtown. It's cool, it's interesting, it's colorful, it's art, all those things. And this is our second year, the feedback that we get from it. This year we had 3 sponsors for banners. Last year we had 1. It's just people, we love, we love to showcase our kids and our students. They're so talented, and we don't have an art gallery in Hardy County. So there isn't an art gallery where they can go and hang their student art. So this gives them a venue. It's open air. Anybody can see it. Anybody can enjoy it. You don't have to pay an admission to it. It's free. And again, being able to offer those things that don't cost anything. They don't, you can just enjoy it. And again, it brightens your downtown. Those are things that make you have that feel-good memory of the downtown. That one's been a great program. We also have a student business fair because, again, we want to foster that entrepreneurial spirit with our young folk. That is the most fun event that we do. We have kids, they can be kindergarten through college. If they're little, they do have to be able to speak to, the mom or dad or aunt or uncle or whoever can't be the one there selling the product. But they have to hand make something, or they've grown it. This year we had a kid that had, he has his own chickens, and he was selling subscriptions for eggs, and they will deliver the eggs once every so often. And, so he had the chicken there, he had the egg, and he was, very informative. He knew all about the chickens, and he racked up on subscriptions to sell his eggs. We have little artists. We have one that she grew the plants, and she could tell you all about the flowers, and it is so much fun. So much fun to see those kids' creativity. We give them prizes for the most creative booth, the best business, most entrepreneurial spirit, and we have other kids go around and shop, and then they have to score the booths. And again, it's just getting kids involved is so great. And so the kids, they start building those memories of downtown. Oh, remember when I was in that student business fair, and I want to go downtown and do that.
And it's one of those things when we talk about connecting people to places, those activities. And when they're engaging, and they remember that, and it contributes to that place brand. It's funny. What I love about our approach too is that sometimes the conversations go where I don't even have to go through the more mechanical answer this question. It comes out. Yeah. You talk about what you've preserved, and and even the conversation you're having now on the art, and it's the expose is usually our most important one, and it's what is it's for us, but it's what do you have in your community that no one knows, but it's authentic, and if the story got told and people knew about it, it would make a difference. And so I love this because as you're talking, I'm just looking, I'm like, that's that one, that's that one, that's the enhancement, that's the investment,
Well, and I'm capitalizing on, I don't know if that's what you meant, but I think you capitalize on your assets, you capitalize on the limited resources you have, but you find a way to capitalize on it and make it grow into something much bigger, much better than what you ever dreamed of. And sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. But when they work, it's fantastic.
Yep.
I will tell you, my board, we do, again, creating those fun memories. We do the Fun Friday. We call it Fun Friday. And we put games out in our park. We have cornhole, large Connect 4, chess, checkers, stuff like that. And they're put out in the park. They're out all day long, into the evening, past the dinner crowd. And my board, we're probably into like year 7 of Fun Friday, and it is a regular thing for people.
That's awesome.
It is. And my board that was, they will say, we thought that was like the dumbest idea ever when you came up with that. I came up with that idea? A brewery. I was at a brewery. They had a large checker game out on the lawn. And I thought, why can't we put that in our park? And so we did, and it has been the greatest thing ever. But you just got to keep trying. You don't just try. Some things stick, some don't.
That's right. And I look forward to coming over for open mic.
Yes, we do. Again, when we were trying to change that mindset of individuals' perceptions of downtown, we had 4 initiatives. We had Fun Friday, movies in the park, fitness in the park, and open mic. And of those 4, people don't want to work out in our park downtown. So that went on for 3 years. We finally scratched it. Movies we tried for 4, didn't catch on. But open mic, we persevered. We knew there were some talented people in Hardee County. So we kept at it. There were some nights that Main Street people were the only ones there, but by like year 3, it really kind of took off. I told you a story about the one artist that I had asked her for the first 2 years, come, I know you sing good, I know you play the guitar, come. She never really sang in public. She was really, nervous about it. The very last open mic of year 2, the event is 6 to 8 on a Monday, third Monday, and at probably 7:30, she comes walking up to me and she says, my mom said I had to come or you're going to be upset with me. I was like, I'm just glad you're here. So she got up there. She was so nervous. She played. I started a Facebook Live with her on our Main Street page. We have never had so much traction on our Facebook, on a post, the comments, the feedback. She was totally embarrassed that I did it, but the next week or 2, I saw on her Facebook page she was going to an open mic in Lakeland. Now she is a regular. She's there every open mic, and she will play for someone that comes up and says, I want to sing, but I don't play an instrument. I don't know what to do. She'll say, well, what do you want to sing? And then she'll look it up and see if she can figure it out, and she'll play for them. Or, we'll have another musician that comes to play that she didn't even know, and they'll end up collaborating and playing together on the stage. So it's grown into this beautiful thing. She has grown musically and come out of her shell and blossom. I mean, it's just the whole thing. And the people that come, it's free. So they might get dinner from a restaurant. They might bring their sandwich from home, but they come to the park, they throw out a blanket, and they've created a fond memory. And a lot of times it's families that come, and they come and they just sit in the park and enjoy. And the beauty is, if you don't like that singer, that's okay, because we're only singing 2 songs, so you don't have to listen to them all night long. It's not an investment.
Yep, and we talked about that a little bit, because to me, we love our public art, and we love all the different opportunities that there are, but music is the one that everyone kind of relates to.
Right.
Not everyone likes some of the other types of art. Not everyone likes to go to the opera or to the theater or an art gallery.
Right.
But everyone has the type of music that they like and listen to,
Yes.
And we may not like it, but it's very individual.
Somebody likes it, and I appreciate the talents.
And what I'm fascinated by as a musician, also is the narrow part of the music industry in where it connects to place.
Right.
And how how it's a role in placemaking, or vice versa, and really connecting into creating these places that that you associate with music. If you think of a place like Muscle Shoals, it automatically comes into your head, or New Orleans, or some of these places, and that comes down to the very neighborhood level. And I think it's just one of those great opportunities. And I just love it when I see it being used in places.
Yeah, and again, anybody can do that. You have a venue, a park, have an open mic. Any
city can be a music city.
They can, yes, yeah. We're we are still growing ours and figuring out how can we get more folks to come and perform. Some months we have a full slate and we have to be sticklers about that you only get 2 songs. But then there might be a month that we only have, 2 or 3 that came, but they enjoy it because then they could sing, we let them sing as much as they want. So, we're still trying to build that consistency, but, 5-6 years later, and we're still doing it, we're still offering it. We feel like there's something there. So it's worth continuing to persevere and continuing to foster.
I love the idea. I mentioned to you yesterday. I've had probably 3 communities that I've recommended essentially this same sort of approach, and they just haven't been able to kind of get it going. They've been, it's easy to say no.
It is. Well, it is,
and that's kind of where it comes to. If you just find the will to do it.
I know. Yeah. It would be so easy to, again, because some months I might be myself and the guy that does our sound might be the only ones there. That's rare now, but in the early years, that was pretty common, and so it would have been so easy. I'm giving up, a couple hours of my Monday evening. I have kids at home. I've got stuff that I'd rather be, vegging out with some TV. I've been working all day, but I've felt, I don't know, I guess I felt passionate about it enough that it would really be great. It could be something great. We just have to keep.
And what you're doing is what you did when you did that is, and music's the right one to do it with, because you're paying your dues the way musicians play your dues. I've played plenty of gigs and shows in venues where there's 3 people.
Right.
You love it when there's a crowd, but for those 3 people who came out, you're still performing, and you're still doing it, and you're still, expressing your art, and it's the same thing, and so it does relate to music, maybe better than even some other art forms. And it's you're doing through the event the same journey the musicians themselves are doing.
Oh yeah, and but when it works, and so I don't mind, again,
and
the park is beautiful. It's 2 hours of my life. It's not once a month. It's not, and it's worth it to me because, again, when it's on, and it is fantastic. But,
And even at those times when maybe the crowd's not what you want it to be, when it's, and I'm on stage and it's the 3 people, you never know when magic's going to happen.
Right.
You never know when that's the night that
that
my solo is going to be perfect, or it's going to be I'm going to come up with some new improv that.
Well, and I'll tell you too, sometimes what happens is we'll have someone there, they're real shy, real nervous, they don't want to perform, they just came to kind of enjoy, and now, especially if it gets close to 8 and people have left, it's December, it's cold, whatever, and see you later, and so now there's only, them and maybe the sound guy, so they, that person may say, okay, well, I'm going to sing now because there's nobody here. And so, but then they may come back the next month because they got that first one out of their system and kind of got over that nervousness about it. And so they came back the next month and did it again. So, there's a variety of experiences that can happen. If there's a big crowd, if there's small crowds, there's only 2 guys there, someone in a guitar. At the end of the night is usually where the collaboration starts happening. Right. And, especially if people are new and they hadn't been before, I've heard, this person played and then they heard that person play. And so at some point in the 2 hours, they got over here and said, hey, can you play this? Let's play this together. And then, close to 8 o'clock, they're up there on the stage having a jam session. And it is beautiful.
That's awesome.
It's so fantastic. It makes my heart happy.
Yeah, I love that.
I'll tell you this.
I love hearing that.
So funny. Like when we, especially on Fridays when people are out playing the games, and when we drive by the park, my family or my husband, or if we're going downtown to eat, and there's people in the park, and I get so giddy. And sometimes I'll make my husband stop so I can get out and take a picture. But a few months ago, there was a young couple, and I was doing, I don't remember what, I was chalking spaces for Student Business Fair. It was going to be the next day. So it's an evening, and there's this young couple with the baby in a stroller, and they're sitting at a table playing chess on one of our Fun Friday games. And so I went over. I said, "Please don't think I'm a weirdo, but can I take your picture playing chess?"
Right.
But it just makes me so happy that people are using our park and they're having fun and they're just enjoying themselves downtown.
They're activating the downtown
Right,
and making they're showing that downtown can be and is what it needs to be and what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Probably like maybe a year or two ago, my son and I were in the car and we're on Main Street and we're just getting into like the downtown section, and my son says, "Just love our downtown." Oh my gosh, you are my child. It just made me so happy. Like there wasn't an event. We were just literally driving. There were the banners and the trees, and it's pretty.
Yep.
And yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
It made me so happy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could go on for days about downtown, and it made me happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, for
fun.
sure. It was great
fun.
meeting you, and
Good time.
I'll be visiting. We'll come to do some pictures from the air next time I'm there.
Yes, I will be so excited.
Yeah.
You'll have to let me know when you're coming.
Yeah,
or
definitely
like
will.
If you have a range of.
Yeah, we're
'Cause
usually.
If we had something going on, that'd be really great.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
Yeah, just let me know when you're coming through.
we will. Thank you so much.
Accommodate. No problem. Thanks for having me. It was good. Good to be
Appreciate
able to talk about downtown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell when someone's passionate about it, and that's what it makes such a big difference.
Well,
It
and
really does.
You do have to have that passion
Yep.
because it's hard.
Yep.
Sometimes it's real hard.
Yep.
And so if you're hardened in it, then
Yep.
you're not going to last long.
That's right.
So,
Yep.
That's good. It's all
Cool.
good. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank